Hello, we are coming to you live from Newegg Studios in Southern California. This is Newegg Now. My name's Trisha Hirschberger.
I'm Juan Carlos Bagnell. It's Thursday, 10 a.m. Pacific time, and that means we're here on Newegg.com, on YouTube, on the Facebooks, ready to have some fun and save you some cash. So you can head on over to Newegg.com/NeweggNow if you aren't there already to follow along with the show over the next hour, and that's where you'll find the promo codes you need to take advantage of the limited time deals that just went live at the start of the show.
And what makes Newegg Now deals extra special each week is that they're so good that they're only active for a very limited time.
True.
The savings that you see on the Newegg Now page will only last through the end of the day today or while supplies last, whichever comes first.
Yep.
So if you see something that you like on that page, don't wait too long or it might be too late.
Yeah, I've missed out on a few.
Me as well.
I sell myself a lot of stuff on this show. So on today's show, we're going to be talking about the big news from Blizzcon 2018.
Oh yeah, I've got a lot of opinions there.
A lot of opinions there. Everyone's been talking about this week. So we'll also be talking about tech security, ways that you can keep your data safe and secure. And we also have a cool look at a new experiment involving virtual reality and K1 go-karts.
It's crazy.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
And then we'll be wrapping things up playing some Rune.
Woo!
I am way more excited about this than I thought I would be, just in the world of sort of retro RPG gaming that I'm not really usually a big fan of.
Well, Undertale is quite the experience.
We're going to be sharing some serious thoughts on Undertale and Rune.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited to play it as well, coming up later in the show. So it's going to be a good episode. But before we
Really
get
big
too
show.
carried away, let's go ahead and check out a few of those Newegg Now deals.
I figure we could.
So that you know that when we say that we're saving you money, what we're talking about.
Yeah, we could start saving you some money. We could highlight a really super sweet GPU deal.
Let's do it.
So let's do that. So you can pick up the ASRock Phantom Gaming Vega 64 right now for $110 off.
Woo!
So this GPU deal is going to go fast. So if you're looking to upgrade to AMD's Vega, you should probably jump on that real quick.
Yes, and if you're looking to put together a new build or maybe upgrade what you've already got going on, then check out the Corsair Carbide Series Micro ATX case in white. You can pick up this awesome little case for less than $40.
Yeah, or if you're trying to, go with something more conventional, you can check out the Corsair Crystal 570X, which we've had on set, forever. It's like a super popular
times. Do we
case.
have it
Is it back there?
I don't see it back there right now.
So if you haven't noticed, we're in a new layout.
Yeah, cheers to the Newegg team for the new set.
So unfortunately, I don't know what direction our Corsair Crystal's in, but you could save $20 on that case today. I think it's directly behind me and to my left is indicated by Newegg Ninja
Okay,
West.
great. And speaking of Corsair, they make some killer power supplies as well,
That
like
they
the
do.
Corsair RM750X in white, which you can pick up today for less than $80. Now, many people don't really think about their power supplies, I feel like, but it's really important to make sure that you have a good one, so check that out.
Yeah, you should. You should think about your power supply, or at least think about it more often than you probably do. So there will be plenty more deals throughout the show, but for now, let's switch gears.
Yes.
Let's talk about some gaming news.
Woo!
I definitely need your opinions on this because BlizzCon was last weekend.
And I was there!
And you were there.
Yeah.
There's so much to cover, especially with what you were doing on the ground. And also talking about some of the cosplay and stuff too.
Yeah.
What were you doing on the ground at BlizzCon, and what were your experiences at the show?
I was not cosplaying at BlizzCon.
No, but you were showing off some great work.
I love seeing cosplay at
Yeah.
BlizzCon. I feel like BlizzCon is like where people bring their cosplay A game. Now, granted, the entire Blizzard world has so many wonderful characters in their lore that have incredibly complex armor and usually various skin colors. It's just the fantasy world is really incredible and the lore is incredible for Blizzard games. So that being said, BlizzCon cosplay, always A+. So that this year was no different. I saw a Diva mech that was really amazing.
Nice.
I saw a couple Sylvanas. I saw a bunch of stuff that was just amazing. So cosplay, yay. What I was actually there doing, I was doing some hosting for Samsung's Game Night event.
Okay.
So on Friday of BlizzCon, they did an event where they had some of our friends from this channel, NZXT, Origin PC, A bunch of those folks were there, and the Twitch streamer Swifty was there, and he
Okay.
was having people challenge him live on a stream. He was streaming the entire time from the event, and basically it was a bunch of beautiful PC builds like we get to see around Newegg all the time, but featuring Samsung SSDs. So that's what that was for, and I got to interview a bunch of people from the different manufacturers. Very similar to what I do
I feel
here.
like Samsung has an uphill battle when they've got some of the best like M.2 drives.
Yeah.
To show that off though. 'Cause,
Right,
like,
and
an M.2 drive is like, look at this little like stick.
Right, and this
To,
game
like,
night
build
wasn't
that
like, hey, buy a Samsung SSD. It was like, hey, buy a pre-built PC from one of these manufacturers that just happens to include a Samsung SSD.
There you go.
So it was a little bit different messaging, but it was a really fun event. I got to meet Swifty, which is cool. Never met him before. Super nice dude.
Very cool.
And then on Saturday of BlizzCon, I moderated the Geek and Sundry panel.
Okay.
Connect, Create, and Inspire Through Play, which is now the second year for that panel, and it's just a lovely time. It's a lot of voice actors that you know from Blizzard games that are also heavily involved with Geek and Sundry, and since I host the video game show, Game Engine, over at Geek and Sundry, I moderated the panel. Yeah, it was a really, really nice time. So things that I was excited about game-wise from BlizzCon, I know that we're going to get a little bit more heavy-duty into in just a second, but the TLDR version, Warcraft Reforged.
Oh yeah.
It was too crowded for me
Oh, sorry,
to actually get hands-on, but like
You threw me like the curveball because I thought we were going.
Diablo Immortal.
Yeah, I thought we were going to do there, but no.
We're
please.
going to talk about that too.
I'm happy you went positive first. So tell
I
me
did.
what your thoughts on Warcraft Reforged are.
I didn't get to go hands-on with it because the line was too long. I'm super stoked
Right.
to get that kind of RTS remastered and brought back with
Yes.
modern World of Warcraft lore, and cannot wait to play. Okay, so let's get into some of the specifics.
Okay, so I mean, like, so one of the coolest bits of news was the announcement of Warcraft 3 Remastered. I wasn't as big a Warcraft player. I was a Command and Conquer
Okay.
player, but I am so silly stoked to see the
Yeah.
attention to an old RTS.
It's going to be great. So for a few of you out there who don't know, Warcraft 3 came out 16 years ago on PC, and it's often considered one of the best real-time strategy titles.
It really is.
And was the last Warcraft game before World of Warcraft moved the universe
true.
over to an MMORPG a few years
true.
later. So let's take a look at the trailer for the remaster that I'm so excited about, so you guys can see what I'm talking about.
I'm so stoked about this.
We never paid any heed to the ancient prophecies. Like fools, we clung to the old hatreds. And fought as we had for generations. Until the day the sky rained fire, and the new enemy came among us. We stand now upon the brink of destruction, for the reign of chaos has come at last.
Oh, that's such a thing of beauty.
Right? And now, Juan, you had mentioned you were more of a Command and Conquer player.
Yeah.
But you think you could pick up some Warcraft Reforged and be a happy dude?
When RTS battles were happening between like StarCraft, Warcraft, and Command and Conquers, I mean, like, you would pick your team. I was a Command and Conquer kid, but it's not like I didn't play StarCraft and Warcraft.
Right.
So this, to me, is that labor of love, of like, you know, being the keeper of a property and then showing that property the player base for that some actual attention. We've been doing that with StarCraft remasters. Now Warcraft we're totally due, and that feels so much more satisfying than what we got in Command and Conquer land with that EA mobile title that doesn't really live up to the warm, happy, fun memories of that. This is exactly what I want to see for some of these older titles, that you can still do something with that property. You can still engage the player base and give them a fresh spin on content that they're familiar with. Instead of just a mobile game, which we'll talk about in a hot second. But keeping it with Warcraft 3 Reforged, this is not just a high-definition reskin of the original. It's been modernized in several different ways in addition to upgraded graphics. They've also modified areas and the story somewhat to be more in line with the extensive Warcraft lore that's been established by World of Warcraft in the last decade and a half or so. You've got 16 years of storytelling. Yeah. That's incredible to think about. So this is super cool because not only will it allow us to play Warcraft 3 on modern systems with much less trouble, it will allow World of Warcraft fans who maybe never played any of the original Warcraft games to see what they're all about. And the whole ramifications of going back to something like this, where you've got the mechanics really tightly refined. Warcraft and StarCraft gaming, we understand really well over 2 decades of this style of RTS. Now I feel like Blizzard, they've got a strong play for a future esports title. Oh. In the same way that you know we look to StarCraft for that like really fast twitch style of gameplay in esports. Now we can do that with a modern engine, modern gameplay, but with mechanics that are very, very well understood. I mean, if nothing else, you can count on getting plenty of awesome custom maps. Right. And we don't know where this might lead for future esports titles, because like Dota started as like a Warcraft custom map. I mean, in its sort of distant infancy, but it's that kind of inspiration when you do something fresh with a property like this. You don't know where it might inspire someone else to make something really cool too. 100%. And speaking of esports, another exciting announcement for Blizzard's other big esports title, and that's a new character for Overwatch. Ashe is an old nemesis of McCree, which means that she shares this Wild Wild West look. She's also voiced by the very prolific and talented Jennifer Hale. Yay, Jennifer Hale! Which is super cool. Have you worked with Jennifer Hale? Not personally, no, but we have a lot of friends in common through Geek and Sundry. Have you worked with Jennifer Hale? Oh yeah, she's amazing. You're like, of course I have. Love getting Jennifer Hale in the booth. Was one of the, I did a tower defense game with her. Cool. Actually, you can find me oddly in a Polygon article talking about the development of this little indie game, but Jennifer Hale was one of the voices that we had in on that. So yeah. So anyway, sorry, back on track. A stunning coincidence that she was revealed just as Red Dead Redemption 2 was launched. Who would have thought? Western. So let's go ahead and check out her character trailer real quick. Let's fire that up.
Funny. They say there's no honor among thieves, but that's not how things work around here. If you cross me, or if you break your word, there'll be hell to pay. You can count on it. Let's clean up this mess. You wanna try me? Poser. Back off. Unstoppable. Burn it all down. Now that gets the blood pumping. There you are.
It's time.
calling the shots. Bob, do something!
So it looks like Ash's main weapon is a lever-action rifle with a quick firing mode, or she can fire down her sights. Her secondary is a sawed-off shotgun, and she can also throw dynamite with a delayed fuse timer. And then her ultimate summons is her robot bodyguard / butler, Bob, to do some serious damage.
Some classic like robots named Bob.
I love it.
Feel like you can always kind of turn to a cyborg or a robot that just helps you out. B.O.B. works. It's really well.
I love it.
So that should be fun. I mean, I have fallen way off Overwatch, so I feel like if I were to jump back in now.
Ooh.
Well, no, I think if I were to jump back in now, there's a ton of fresh stuff. That
there is.
From launch, I feel like I could get back into.
Oh, yeah.
So you can actually play as her right now if you go to the public test realm. And again, for anyone who's watching the show, you're probably not going to mind playing something that's a little rough around the edges. It's not quite finished, but
she's probably way OP, as all new characters in Overwatch are. So go have fun with that.
Do it.
There was also a new character announced for Heroes of the Storm, a new World of Warcraft patch, and of course, Diablo Immortal.
I think we're to that point.
I think we're to that point.
Part of the journey.
I am sure you've heard that it's a free-to-play mobile game developed by Chinese company NetEase, and fan reaction has been not super awesome.
Not so great.
To put it mildly.
Super mildly.
I have a lot of thoughts on this, but Juan, I'm gonna hand it to you first. What are your thoughts on Diablo Immortal and how the reveal went down?
So, I talked about this on my podcast where I got super emotional and very aggravated, and I feel like I've had enough time to calm back down again.
Okay.
I am still lumping this in with the almost made me cry in a bad way experience of playing Command & Conquer on a phone. The Diablo player base, this is one of those titles. We're talking generations of gamers have played Diablo, have played games like this.
I go way back with
way
my Diablo
back.
history. Way back.
And Diablo 2 was my WoW addiction crack.
Okay.
Where I was like ending friendships and not
Yeah.
keeping up with personal hygiene and like,
I mean,
you get in deep. You
I
get
got
in
it.
real deep.
The original Diablo was everything to me.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
So there is a certain reverence or a certain respect that I feel that player community expects, because it is being kept alive by a very hardcore sect of PC gamers. From the time that Diablo 3 came out to now, you know, the people that are still grinding and playing on D2 and D3, we're not talking about casual gamers.
No,
we're not talking about people who
mostly
pick it up.
PC gamers, some console gamers,
And
I would say.
a pretty high level of dedication to that story.
For sure. Oh, yeah.
So-
People are obsessed with the lore, know it super well.
Super deep.
Yeah.
Super deep.
Deckard
So-
Cain is a family member, folks. I mean, I get it.
So I feel like there was a high bar set by Blizzard. They were teasing, we've got a big Diablo announcement coming.
I know.
Then they immediately had to, we talked about it on the show, they immediately had to backtrack and say,
And then
oh,
they
it's
were
not
like,
D4,
it's
not D4.
It's not D4, calm down, 2 weeks before the show.
What we saw, like think just literally a couple minutes ago, and how excited we got with Warcraft 3 Reforged. I kind of feel like Blizzard missed an opportunity to pull an Apple, here's one more thing.
Oh, 100%.
So you show off the mobile game,
Right.
and to a crowd of people who probably aren't going to get that lit up about a mobile game, and then tease a D2 remastered or a Diablo 4.
Something.
But look at like when we were at E3 and Bethesda had
I was just
whole
going to
ton.
say that. Look at what Bethesda did.
They had no gameplay. They had barely anything to highlight, but we got so excited about Fallout 76. Obviously, that game has some issues right now going on too. But I feel Blizzard missed that opportunity to end the evening on a high point, and instead they focused on this one aspect of a game that actually will probably end up being pretty fun.
I got hands-on with it at BlizzCon.
Oh, okay, excellent. So I want you to take over and talk about
I
it.
hate mobile games.
Okay.
Juan likes mobile
I
games.
love
he
mobile
actually
games.
plays them. I
need
do
the
not
Razer
like
phone
mobile games.
to match my laptop.
My phone is for productivity, and when it's time for me to game, I want to sit down in my chair at my station and like zone out.
Right.
I don't want to do it while I'm doing 6 other things. That's not what gaming is for me. So I really don't like mobile games. I don't like the control scheme. I don't like having graphics that should be much more legible and beautiful on a large screen shrunken down. Not my thing. That being said, this game is not horrible,
Okay.
which coming from me is high praise. Now, please
Right.
don't take what I'm saying as, I know I tweeted out
An
like,
endorsement of
my first,
this. Yeah,
right. I
yeah.
tweeted out my first hands-on of like, here's what I legitimately thought about it. There were some of the same concerns I had with Diablo 3 being shrunken down for the Switch port.
Yes.
I was wondering how it would
That
look on the
point.
smaller screen. You know, like a lot of those concerns were not as bad as I expected those things to be. The controls were rather intuitive with the exception of interacting with objects. I still had to remove my hands on that. I did test it on a Note 9, so it was a rather larger mobile screen.
Right.
So I kind of tweeted out those first impressions and people were like, don't drink the Blizzard Kool-Aid and be a corporate shill. And I'm like,
That's-
not what I'm doing. As a Diablo fan, I also felt very let down in that moment. And I feel like this is a really tricky thing. I don't know if it's that Blizzard kind of misjudged the pulse of their Diablo
Hugely.
audience.
Hugely. They had to know that there was going to be some fallout. They were not prepared.
But they didn't act like it at all. They acted like this is a huge thing and we should all be very excited, which makes me
Don't you have
wonder
Don't you have a phone?
is Blizzard, like, is the team that worked on it super excited to maybe share the lore? We know that Immortal's going to take place in between 2 and 3. Maybe they've got some really cool lore that's coming out with this game. It depends who you believe and what you believe actually happened, and I don't know. I don't know that any of us really know, except for the people who work at Blizzard, but Blizzard says their dev team worked on this game from the ground up, whereas a lot of people online are saying, look at the comparison between NetEase's game Crusaders of Light versus this game. They look exactly the same.
Right.
They're pulling up interviews from Blizzard devs saying, when we were in early development a few months ago, leading people to believe this is
It's a
just a
reskin,
reskin,
yeah.
even though Blizzard's coming out and saying it's most definitely not a reskin. I get very sad for devs when they work really hard on something and their game gets crapped on because it's not what people wanted. I don't
Right.
think that's fair to people for their hard work. That being said, if there wasn't any hard work and this is just a cash grab, then fans have every right to be mad. So Blizzard kind of came out and said they're aiming to bring more people into the Diablo world with this mobile game because mobile gamers are generally a different audience, and if they can bring more people into the Diablo fold,
Yes.
that's great. And I'm like, okay, I get that. Maybe better communication. I mean, I honestly, it makes me
completely agree
sad
there.
from both sides because I feel like Blizzard has been really lovely about community involvement and community for so long.
And this just felt so off the pulse from how they usually interact with their community.
It did,
So-
and I actually know the community manager for Blizzard. I've interviewed
Sure.
her quite a few times
So
on my
she's-
other.
She's been having a trying week.
I'm sure that she has, but no one's a bigger Diablo fan than her, and so
Right.
it kind of breaks my heart for her. And again, it breaks my heart for the individuals that are very passionate about this franchise. Excuse me, right now that are getting a lot of flack because we don't know whose decision it was. We don't know where
Although-
that came from, and we don't know how involved those people actually are with those projects. Now, they say that they are still working on D4. This
Yes.
isn't.
I
This
don't
is
think
just a
anyone's
separate
surprised
team
there.
doing a separate
Right.
thing. So we're still working on D4. But here's the thing: in the meantime, and yeah, I'm not sure if. I'm sure everyone heard about the panel or the Q&A where someone came up and asked us this a poorly timed April Fool's joke, and then we had people crying, and
There was much gnashing of teeth.
There
I was definitely a part of that too.
Yeah, I feel like there's got to be a better way for
'Cause I feel-
we as fans, when we're upset with something, to express that we're upset with something without attacking individuals. I don't know. I have
No,
to
I
default to
definitely agree there.
there's got to be a better way to do that. But I feel like a lot of Diablo fans are very passionate right now, and rightfully so.
Well, again, because we've distilled this community down to the most core dedicated players. So they have certain expectations, and they've been carrying the torch for this property for years.
And what if Immortal's offered on, maybe they'll do like a PC version of it, kind of like
Well,
with Hearthstone, but then is it going to be super lackluster?
No, here's where I feel like these arguments have a lot of merit.
Yeah.
Because think about the only reason why you can reskin a property from NetEase to make a Diablo clone is because we've been asking for Diablo on mobile since the advent of mobile phones. We've wanted
NetEase
that.
has kind of given people that.
Look at all of the Diablo clones out there.
Right.
So Blizzard has been leaving money on the table for years. So now it makes sense that they would want their cut. You can introduce Diablo to a different class of gamer, or a different range of gamer, but now we have all the unanswered questions. And this is always a terrible position for any company to be in, is when there's the unknown.
We also don't know what the microtransaction
That's exactly what I was getting at.
In the hands-on demo I played, there weren't any, of course, because it was just a small demo.
I would be ready to pay full price, just like the cost of buying Diablo 3 on the Switch. I am ready to give Blizzard my money for Diablo 2 on Android.
They already have my money.
They already have it.
Game and expansions and the Necromancer
Do
pack
it.
on both PC and Xbox.
But if I fire up Diablo Immortal and I run a dungeon, and then I get a cooldown clock that's unlocked with premium crystals, and there's a crystal pack, and then I've got an armor upgrade, then I'm throwing my phone through a wall. Like, that's just not okay.
And you just described why Trisha doesn't play mobile games.
Yeah, because we've got these things. There are these Asus and Razer starting to make mobile gaming phones. Now we need developers to actually give us gamer games on mobile, not just like, hey, crystals things, and then you can pay more money to play it more.
Some of the indie ports that have been brought to Switch, I feel like could be decent mobile titles.
Rockstar doing great work. GTA, it's just the game. I give them $10 and I play the game, and that's what I want.
Yes.
So I think I'm sorry, I'm getting lit up again.
That's all right. We're very passionate about this, and I feel like we are probably a good representative, a Greek chorus, if you will, for the audience and how everybody else out there feels.
Especially for any older gamers that grew up on this stuff. Like it's tough to untangle all your feelers.
Yes, we are older gamers and we are there right with you. So it's going to be interesting to see how Blizzard deals with the backlash and how the game fares both here and overseas.
Okay. We're going to shift gears a bit.
We can do a whole show just on this.
I know, we really should.
I streamed Diablo 3 all day yesterday because it's all I can think about. Continue.
I'm like seriously considering whether or not I'm going to go back to D2. Anyway, we're going to talk about something different. We're going to talk about information security. Okay, it's never been more important, and there's some really cool tech out there to keep all of your data safe from hackers and ransomware, and then also just from hardware failure. So let's jump into that. Not quite as fun and sexy, but there's some cool stuff that I think we're going to touch on that I'm really interested into.
Hacking is fun and sexy. Let's talk about that. The Newegg Ninjas were discussing hacking a little earlier and got to reminiscing about some of the ways that hacking's been portrayed in video games throughout the years. Some games like Sombra from Overwatch, for example, represented as a super straightforward and simplified thing, while others try to get closer to what the real thing is, and then there's others that just go all out with a more, shall we say, creative interpretation of what pulling off a security breach might look like.
So we wanted to hear what you guys think. So GameCrate put out a poll on Twitter this week asking gamers to sound off on the question of the best hacking mechanics ever in a video game. So I know you replied. You had a comment directly.
I did. So I saw, we've got it up on screen right now. Which game franchise offers the most entertaining hacking experience? And Fallout,
yeah,
totally won. But I was upset the Quadrilateral Cowboy wasn't even on there, or Nier Automata.
Okay.
So I voted write-in vote.
Write-in vote. Okay.
For Quadrilateral Cowboy, which I think was one of the most interesting hacking video game experiences I've played in a long time. It's an indie game that, if you're not super into indie games, is probably not on your radar.
It wasn't on mine.
But it's really fun. Go for it.
I mean, like, I didn't even bother voting because I keep thinking back to another. I think you can still get it on Steam. It's called Hacker Evolution.
Okay.
And it just looks, it looks terrible. I actually, talking about mobile gaming, I first played it on Windows Mobile.
Whoa.
Not Windows Phone, like with the little pressure stylus sensitive. There's a streamlined version of Hacker Evolution for that. But it's like you pull it up and you get a console, and then you have to route VPNs for your hack to stay secure.
Okay.
And then over time, as you get better, you can buy PC parts to upgrade your system. But it's like there's like There's like nothing fancy. It's just like a map of the world. You get a little email that pops in for what you want to hack next, and then you have a little sidebar that tells you your system specs and whether or not you're getting hacked.
But it's still fun.
Oh, it's super fun.
Okay, because
and
I feel like
and it translates really well to different like screen sizes. Like I loved poking around like what nodes I was gonna like route information through on my HTC Touch Pro back in the day.
I had a tilt. I'm right there with you.
Yes. Oh, that was a great phone. I love that phone.
But yeah, I feel like in video games, the challenge is how realistic do you want to make hacking, and then does it cross a point where it becomes boring, or do you want to make it super fun and arcade-like, where it's kind of like a mini game, and then when you complete the mini game, then you successfully hack.
It's like movies, you know, like Hackers is not an accurate representation of hacking.
Well,
but it's got Angelina Jolie, so it's fun.
So like BioShock is a standout. Just use that water pipe game as its hacking mechanic. It was a fun mini game that didn't attempt to be realistic. Same thing we saw in Nier Automata. Yeah. It was like a fun little twin stick shooter type of mini game, arcade game, and when you completed the level, then you successfully hacked.
Well, and I like to do a how do you say? I've never actually tried to say the name of that game. Deusex.
Deus Ex.
Deus Ex. I keep saying Deus Ex. It's totally wrong. But like when you get those dual thumbstick, sort of like you got to keep it within this target, and then you've got to go to these different nodes. I actually liked that representation of interacting with computers. I thought that was a pretty savvy way to pull off something that's totally boring in real life.
Yeah, so I mean, those games are all super fun, and I feel like a lot of creative interpretations of hacking in cartoons and in storytelling all make it look super sexy and cool. But in real life, tech security is not a game.
No, it's not.
Tech security is super important, and fortunately, there are a variety of ways that you can keep your data and identity safe, both online and locally, on your home hardware.
Totally. So first and probably most importantly is just keeping a really close tab on your passwords. So making sure they're all different, that you're using complex enough passwords, and that they're easily accessible to you, but only to you.
Sure.
So maybe, yeah, I know, it's like easier said than done, actually. Because I think we all have those relatives who have the Post-it note of like password, just like on their monitor.
My parents are those people.
Yeah, so let's try and help them out too. So maybe the easiest way to do this is with a password manager. And this is a program, it's a software, it's maybe an app on your phone. It keeps track of all of your passwords, and you can usually use them to generate and autofill really complex passwords for you. So not only does this keep track of all of your passwords, it keeps it secure, it can also save you a huge amount of time in trying to remember when you need to cycle out a password.
Yep.
I have the bad habit of, I've got like probably 8 or 9 really robust passwords that then cycle through different services.
Yes,
so then I come up with a new one, that becomes my most important password. And then when I'm done using it on one service, I move it to another service. But I should probably take my own advice and stop doing that.
Yeah.
So there are quite a few options to choose from like Dashlane, or LastPass is really popular too. So this software is definitely worth checking out, both from a security standpoint and then also for convenience.
And then separate from your passwords, if you're running large amounts of network traffic, you should think about investing in a dependable firewall.
Yep.
A firewall is a hardware or software solution that monitors incoming and outgoing network traffic and decides whether to allow or block specific traffic based on a set of security rules that you decide. So there's several different types of firewalls, everything from proxy firewalls to threat-focused next-generation firewalls, and the type you should get will depend on what sort of traffic that you see the most.
Totally. So, I mean, like, even if you're watching the show, you could start the conversation off with something in software. Your router might have some services.
Yeah.
But if you're interested, you're really interested in picking up a dedicated hardware firewall solution, we have 3 different SonicWall products available.
Who would have guessed?
On this show, what? All discounted more than $200 off.
It's really a killer deal.
So seriously, if you are looking at upgrading your network security, definitely head over to that Newegg Now page and check those out. Some pretty killer deals. And of course, you can't discuss privacy and data security without talking about virtual private networks, more commonly known as
VPNs.
VPNs. These software-based encryption systems are increasing in popularity. because people are super paranoid these days, and they allow at least some degree of anonymity and security when you're browsing.
Yeah, so the way it works in simple terms is the VPN takes your network traffic and runs it through the location of wherever the VPN you're using is located, essentially disguising your system and IP address. So when you make a network request while using a VPN, your computer contacts the website through an encrypted connection, and the VPN then forwards the request for you and processes the response, funneling it back to you through that same secure connection.
Much like the video game Hacker Evolution, as playable on Windows mobile phones from 2010. Okay. Sorry, I had to. This allows you to do things like access a business or a home network when you're away. You have some level of privacy even on public Wi-Fi networks. They can't sort of analyze your network traffic that way. Nice thing about VPNs is that they're very easy to use. Usually it's just a matter of loading up some software. It should be mentioned that going through all of these different pipes, the internet is a series of tubes, that will slightly slow down your connection depending on what nodes you're connecting to around the world. But for many people, that's an easy compromise, totally worth it, and you only need to use it when you want that extra layer of privacy.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking about upgrading my home system
Nate
getting
was really
a VPN.
concerned
Yeah,
about
we're
some
talking
of that,
about getting a VPN in the house, and to do that, I'm going to have to upgrade to get a much faster connection overall, because the VPN is something we're thinking about using all the time.
I mean, if you have to have faster broadband, then you just have to have it.
I just have to.
Yeah.
So there's too many different VPNs for us to list here on the show, but if you do a little research, you should be able to find one that fits both your budget and your needs.
Totally.
Another option for keeping your data safe is encrypted hard drives. Even an unencrypted external hard drive can be safer than nothing at all.
Totally.
After all, you can't hack something if it's not connected to the internet. But there's a whole new market of external hard drives that have a variety of encryption options. So, even if someone did get their hands on it, then they still wouldn't be able to access your data.
Oh, totally. In fact, because I have a script note here, but I still use an old Kingston security drive from my old days working at DOE.
There you go.
So you would have you don't put in the password 5 times, and it just nukes everything on the drive.
There you
go.
go.
Pretty cool. A great example of an encrypted hard drive that you could buy today with a ton of features is the LaCie rugged, secure external storage device. Not only does this 2 terabyte drive use AES 256 hardware encryption, it's also designed to be super durable. I mean, they've got that huge shock mount casing around the hard drive, and it uses USB-C for faster data transfer speeds. So you can pick this up and do everything an external hard drive can do with that hardware layer of encryption for less than $140, and it comes with a $20 gift card that you can use on a future purchase.
You know what? You said LaCie, and I was like, oh my God, that's how you pronounce that. I think I've been saying Lacey forever.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
LaCie is more correct if we're talking about French.
From my real That's okay. I didn't know Deus Ex, and you didn't know
There
LaCie.
you go.
Why are we even hosting a tech show? It's ridiculous.
Too many brand names to
Pulled
keep track
2 rubes
of.
off the street. Yeah, that's what they do here.
There's a ton of encrypted hard drives out there. I'm going to bring it back. And some that use actual buttons on the drive itself to keep it secure. I don't know if you've seen any of those.
Some are using like biometrics now, which is
Love
pretty
it.
cool too.
Yeah, they're
Fun
super,
stuff.
super easy to use and surprisingly affordable.
Oh yeah.
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 But it's not always hackers or identity thieves that you need to look out for. Sometimes plain old hard drive failure can disappear your data.
Nuke
Just
it.
wipe it all out. We've all had hard drives that fail, I feel like.
Yeah.
That's something we can all bond over. And I'm sure that we all at one point or another, or maybe more, wished that we had backed up data when we hadn't.
Oh yeah, and in like every storage medium has had some kind of failure. From
Yeah.
did you ever have like the click of a zip drive and just the gut-wrenching feeling of that
Yes.
nuking all the information there?
Yes.
And I've been a huge advocate for using network-attached storage.
Yes, you
getting
have.
a NAS. We had the Seagate interview a couple episodes back.
Yeah.
So luckily, that kind of big drive storage. I mean, we get really excited. We were talking about like Samsung M.2 drives and stuff like that, but big honking brick O storage, like has never been cheaper. You know, your price per gigabyte is insane.
It's so nice.
So backing up your data has never been easier. So one box that I'm really excited about in this conversation about network attached storage is the QNAP 3-bay Personal Cloud Network Assisted Storage System.
You
It's
got
easy
it.
for me to say.
Yep.
So this can help you build a secure 3-disk RAID 5 array with almost no effort. And it allows for backups and redundancy, automatically creates snapshots of your data that you can easily restore if something goes wrong. And it's got some really awesome features too, like you can plug M.2 drives into your 3-bay, so you can use the speed of M.2 as a cache.
Ooh.
It is a sexy little box. I mean, you really should check it out. And you can pick up this excellent QNAP RAID array for less than $225 right now.
That's pretty
which
awesome.
Is awesome.
Yeah, and if you need more drives for your RAID array or just for more storage, then you'll definitely want to take a look. We've also got the 6 terabyte Seagate Iron Wolf 7200 RPM NAS hard drive on sale on Newegg Now. These high capacity drives are perfect for NAS arrays like the one that we just mentioned from QNAP, and they also make use of a very cool feature called Iron Wolf Health Management.
I mean, just crazy. Get 3 of those, got RAID 5, 12 terabytes of storage. One of those drives could fail. Awesome. So this tech helps to keep your NAS and Seagate drive safe by making sure that any unusual disturbances are very closely monitored. There's a lot of really cool like vibration tech that's going into these new storage drives. It improves system reliability by showing prevention and intervention options. And if something does happen, you'll have access to a sophisticated data rescue and recovery service. So with this paired with the security of reliable backups, you'll know that everything you're doing, you can keep your data up to date, safe, and secure. It's really, it's never been easier.
Yeah, it's definitely worth checking out if you're looking to upgrade your storage. So you can pick up that 6 terabyte Seagate Iron Wolf NAS hard drive for under $160 today.
That's nuts. Okay, sorry.
That's insane.
Because this part of the script, I'm going to, again, show my age as an old tech guy in this space. If you're in the market for a 4 terabyte external hard drive, we have the Seagate Backup Plus Hub available for less than $80.
Woo!
This is an excellent external storage option. Comes with 2 integrated high-speed USB 3 ports on the front, so you can charge and connect to devices, as well as a full software suite for managing your data. It's 4 terabytes for under $80. Now, in our script, they have written for me, hey Trish, remember when 1 terabyte was a huge deal? I'm sure you can go with me on the reminiscing of, we can remember when 1 gigabyte was a huge deal in our PCs.
Fact. Well, that's when I always tell people, when people ask how I got into tech, it was as a very wee human when my copy of Doom for PC required 4 megabytes of RAM.
Oh man.
And my PC couldn't get that. I was like, how does one get 4 megabytes of RAM?
Can I download this RAM?
Yes, so I remember that as a very wee human. So yeah, gigabyte was a huge deal.
Our first Pentium PC, we had an 840 megabyte hard drive. And I'm sitting there with my mom and dad just like, what are we gonna do with all this space? This is too much space. Like, that's an insane, I mean, like, we had just gotten off of a DOS clone with like 5 1/4 floppies, like, you know, 1.4 megabytes. Oh, this is waka waka. You know, like 840 floppy disks in the box. That's insane.
Yeah, it's really, really cool to see how far everything's come, and then to think in the next 3 to 5 years in the future, where we'll be then. It's very awesome. So let's just bring it back to security. If you're interested in more traditional security.
Oh, this one's right up your alley. I like that.
But still want some high-tech options. So I feel like when some of us said tech security, I think some people's brains didn't go to hacking and storage. I think some people's brains went right to like home security, but smart
automation
stuff. So let's talk about that for a second.
Definitely.
We've got some great smart home security options that you guys should check out. So the one I talk about all the time because I have it, the Arlo security camera system is super easy to set up, really quite lovely, and allows you to keep your eye on things even when you're not at home. As Juan can attest, because when I'm here at the Newegg studio, I'm like, let's see what's going on in my house right now. I do it all the time. I'm sorry.
She really does use this
but
all the
it's
time.
when I'm on vacation and stuff like that,
It's
it's
huge.
nice to get a notification on my phone that like there's been motion detected at my front door in case a package was delivered or something like that. It's really been quite lovely, and it's one of the few security systems that does not require a monthly fee.
Oh, it's so nice.
Heyo, it doesn't even say that in our script. I'm just plugging things that we're not even supposed to say because I like it. But it is, I vouch for it. I've had a great experience thus far. But it's on sale on Newegg Now. Right now, you can pick it up for $50 off, and that's a really good deal.
That's solid. So we also have a great smart lock from August for $40 off. Allows you to control your door, keep track of who comes and goes, and you can also like if you're maybe doing like the Airbnb thing, we had someone using this August lock for I think it was 2 or 3 CESs ago. It was very similar, where we got a temporary key. So they were able to just change that on the fly.
Easy.
You can do that on the August app. It's really cool stuff. And again, it helps streamline some of this like techie aspect of basic home lifestyle maintenance.
And things like smart locks and home security cameras, they just make life a little bit easier. Like stuff that I feel like we think, gosh, I should be able to do that with modern tech. We can. Smart home isn't necessarily as fully integrated as I think a lot of us would like it to be.
Yeah, I still think it's silly when I have like 4 different apps.
Yep.
And, like 3 of them are required just for the front door.
Yeah, exactly. Right, because there's no smart lock that like has a camera that you can look and be like, oh, let this guy in the same app. That's not a thing that exists yet. Somebody make that.
Someone, you will make so much money. I promise you.
Just do that.
Give me one app for my front door.
Yes, but the stuff we have now is pretty cool and will make your life easier. I
Absolutely.
did so many smart home upgrades last year for the holidays. I sold myself on this show. So many smart home upgrades. Really, really good stuff. Okay, so that's going to do it for our quick security roundup. The most important thing is just to be aware of your data. We can't say that enough. Who can access it, where it's stored, and what you're doing to protect it. Hardware encryption, software like password managers, firewalls, VPNs. There's plenty of options out there to help keep your data safe, and it's never been more important that you do.
No, it definitely. And it's also the unforeseen threats. When you've got a pretty good idea of what your network is all about, then when something new pops up, you're better prepared to take to handle it.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and switch gears from tech security and talk about a subject that might not seem super safe.
I love this. This is great.
Riding a go-kart while wearing an Oculus Rift
Sign me up.
VR headset.
I'm
Juan,
down.
Before we go any further, you would totally go for it?
I am on board. I want to see these types of virtual and augmented reality experiences shareable in a community sense. And I know that there are some significant biology issues that need to be addressed, but we can't address them until we start doing them. So let's start doing them.
It's terrifying to me. I'm like, why can't we just build practical Mario Kart effects into the track and go that way? But it obviously won't look the same or be as cool.
Think about like Rainbow Bridge VR.
Yeah.
But you're in a real car.
Except for if I run off Rainbow Bridge in the game, a little turtle just magically brings me back, and I don't feel like that. Or sorry, Koopa, or whatever. I don't want to get upset with the actual.
It's called Deus Ex, really? Huh?
Is it? Who brings you back in the cloud? The cloud guy.
Yeah.
Who is that? Anyway. When I fall off in the game, a nice little guy brings me back with a fishing pole. If I fall off in real life, do I die? Because that's where my brain goes, and that doesn't sound fun.
I feel we need that level of realism.
But it is potentially very cool. The idea is very cool. Surprise, we're not just talking about VR and go-karts as some wild hypothetical that'll be coming years down the road. It's actually something that's possible right now.
Oh, yes. So, and right here in Southern California. The VR wizards from a company known as Master of Shapes have been working kind of in secret. I haven't heard a lot about this.
Anything about this.
To convert a standard K1 go-kart into a virtual reality vehicle ready to carry us all into the future. It's not at 88 miles an hour. It's a go-kart track, but it's still pretty cool. It's not ready for public consumption quite yet. No surprises there, because you do need to work on this stuff a lot. But a couple of the Newegg Studios crew, some of our Newegg ninjas, had a chance to go try it out for themselves, and they survived.
Yay!
They lived to tell the tale.
Woo!
So we're going to check out the story behind the experience from Masters of Shapes founder Adam Amaral. So let's go ahead and throw to that. It's a really awesome video.
So my name's Adam Amaral, and I'm the founder and creative director at our company Master of Shapes. We're an interactive design studio that specializes in making the impossible, or a bunch of weird stuff, essentially. And we're here at K1 trying out virtual reality go-karts. The idea came from a combination of things. So we actually did a project back in 2015 for Castrol where we tracked a full-size car and let you drive in virtual reality. At the time, technology wasn't caught up, VR headsets were kind of old school, and our tracking tech was good, but not good enough to drive in like an actual closed course. So when we got an opportunity to work with Intel and they mentioned, hey, we want you to do a project that uses VR and uses Intel NUCs, we were like, let's revisit the idea from back in the day, but we've always wanted to make essentially virtual reality Mario Kart, so we're like, let's do it now. So the actual tech for this is a kind of multi-stage process. First stage to get this working is you need to match the digital world with the real world, right? So for that, we took a LiDAR scanner and scanned this entire space, and we got millimeter accurate representation of the actual track. Once you have the track all sorted, we need to figure out how to track a go-kart in the space, right? And for that case, we reached out to a company called Blacktrax, and they develop IR motion capture cameras that work really well at long distance. So we positioned 28 cameras all around the space, and those actually track these IR stringers here on the cart, and those give us positional data. So you've got the real world representation, you've got the tracking sorted, then we had to outfit the cart to actually run a computer, right? So we custom printed some 3D mounts, mounted an Intel NUC to the back, powered it from the cart's actual battery, and then added string potentiometers and different sensors to read in the steering wheel input and the throttle and gas. Final step is take all that together, put it in Unreal Engine, which is a game engine, and essentially we made like a post-apocalyptic Tokyo level that you can drive through in virtual reality. It's all like neon, there's like fire and stuff, there's like tons of buildings with like glowing neon signs. Kind of just a cool representation of what we think this track could look like in a virtual world somewhere else. The power-ups are pretty sweet. So in the case of K1, they have these remote controls we saw the employees using, and they use it just to like throttle the go-karts when the race is done. When we saw that, we were like, I wonder if we can hook up to that and like control it ourselves from the game. And so the way the power-ups work is we're actually driving over a collision in the virtual world, and when that collision happens, say over a speed burst, we send a serial call over USB to their remote control that actually speeds up or slows down the go-kart. So it's effective like real working power-ups. K1 was really helpful for us. We reached out originally just to get a cart from them, and when they heard what we were doing, they totally were like, hey, take the cart and take access to the full track. So for the past month, they've given us full access to their track in the mornings, and we've had the opportunity to do whatever we want here, essentially. So they've been really pivotal in getting us enough testing time to see if this thing can actually work. The goal is definitely to get this out to the public. Like, we want to make something super cool, but we don't want it to be this exclusive 1% where only like 5 people get to try it. We want everyone to try this, and that's our plan. We have a few more months to like really polish it down, but we did this in 4 to 6 weeks essentially, and we already have a full working prototype. Another few months, I think we can get this thing like perfect public ready so everyone can try it.
That looks
so cool.
So cool.
That is so cool. I'm mad they didn't take us.
I know, right?
I don't know, like,
where was our invite, guys?
Which ninja I need to shake by the shoulders.
Right? I actually love go-karting. I used to have an annual membership to a place out here called MB2 Raceway for a long time.
And I'm sure Nate probably remembers like trying to trek up to like Hinkle in Albuquerque.
Maybe.
They had a little go-kart track too.
Maybe, but Newegg Ninja Nick, who I know some of you in chat actually recognized in the video, had a chance to ride around in the VR cart, and he did about a dozen laps, in fact, without crashing.
Good
job,
job,
the track tech must be pretty solid.
It's gotta be. I mean, think of all the challenges in tying that together. So Nick said that while you start off pretty nervous, after the first lap, he felt comfortable going full speed, hitting the boosters. How cool is that?
That's very
Real
cool.
life Mario Kart boost tracks. And really enjoying the experience. According to him, motion sickness wasn't an issue, something I'm very concerned about. I have very sensitive stomach. Though there was one part of the track where he was saying that the tracking cameras would lag a little bit.
Oh,
so that's terrifying.
That would be terrifying.
Yeah, even just like, in your reaction times, a split second could be really, really scary. But once you knew that there was gonna be, like, you could plan for the lag, that it was, you knew how to like, kind of get around it. You knew how to deal with it. So some really cool stuff. I mean, there's so many of these ideas, like tying them all together, the AR and the VR. I kind of feel like the home VR market probably won't be able to sustain VR on its own until we can share some more of these experiences. Yeah. And this is one of those things I keep pointing to, like if it's augmented reality laser tag or virtual reality go-karting, this gets people more engaged, gets them working. And it also forces us to solve those problems of how do you have multiple people sharing the experience in a meaningful way? Because right now, VR at home is, I'm gonna put the headset on you and now I'll just watch you flail around.
Right, exactly. Yeah, sharing that experience super important, which is why when we talk about things like VR arcades, that's really cool. And yeah, experiences like this, they get people thinking outside the box, because you're right, I do think a lot of people think home VR, I put on a helmet and I watch something.
Yeah.
Or I put on a helmet and I hold a controller. People still think that that's what it is, but these kind of thinking outside the box experiments could really widen, open people's minds,
And
if you will.
literally all of the ninjas that got to go and do this have been saying like, it's like the most amazing thing I've ever done in my entire life, which just makes me even crazier that I didn't get to do it.
So how do we get to do it? Yeah, next
So,
time. Cool.
Just saying.
Okay, so let's bring it back to the show. We've talked about BlizzCon. We've taken a dive into tech security, and we just touched a little bit on a cool VR experience.
Really cool VR.
But now it's time for us to do some gaming. So
Yeah, it is.
specifically, we're going to take just a tiny look at Deltarune, the new game from Toby Fox, the creator of Undertale. Deltarune released as a total surprise about 2 weeks ago, and for
such a
Undertale
great
fans,
surprise.
it's been a big deal. And the game is free to download, so if you played Undertale and enjoyed it, then there's really no reason not to play Deltarune 2. And to be clear, Deltarune is not a full game on its own. It's a precursor to something much larger that Toby Fox is working on. But Juan, what is your experience with Undertale?
Have you ever felt like you needed to apologize to a game? So, like, Undertale came out, and it got all these accolades.
Yes.
So many people telling me, this game is amazing. You've got to play it. My expectations going into it, super high. I fire it up, and it's like, oh, it's kind of like a retro RPG.
Did you not play it all the way through?
Not my jam. And I put the game away.
Oh.
Never got to the point until much more recently. In fact, didn't finish it until I got the show notes for this, knowing that like, oh, there's something else going on here.
We're going to talk about Deltarune.
I should probably like go back and check out. Then realizing that what I had missed was a very meta, only possible in a video game experience, kind of like Doki Doki Lit Club.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, like so much smarter and so much more meta than I ever
and so complicated.
understood.
Like, really, it is. It's a wonderful experience. So for those of you who don't know, Undertale is an indie RPG that became a huge hit in 2015 on PC, and then came to PS4 and eventually Switch as well. It was developed almost entirely by Toby Fox alone, including the programming, writing, and the very popular musical score,
which
huge. People just love. I think it sold over 1 million copies, which is crazy.
Yeah.
That's absolutely huge for a retro-inspired indie game, and I think it even won some stuff at the Game of the Year Awards.
I feel bad. I feel like I should apologize to Undertale. I
right
wrote it
now,
off.
this is your platform. Do it.
Undertale, I apologize. You were way cooler than I gave you credit for when I tried to play you, the first time?
Yep.
And Deltarune is only reinforcing, because it's not even just the game, it's the whole mythology around the game.
Well,
and
the
then
philosophy of gaming in general that's woven into it.
How Toby Fox is interacting with his audience. All of this contributes to the experience of playing the game, and it's really hard to describe in words, but it's things like, Fox put it out there. How you even get Deltarune was an amazing story. He put it out there that he just wanted to do like a little automated survey for people that liked Undertale. So you downloaded this executable.
Right.
That's listed something like it's something like Undertale survey or something like that. And then when you open the executable, the terms of service, basically there's only one line of text. You agree to everything that happens from here on.
Of course you do.
And you're like, oh,
I'm in for a ride.
And then from there, like Deltarune just takes off. And again, I had to go back. Didn't quite finish Undertale, but then there's so much out there that's already been spoiled from the story of Undertale.
You should finish Undertale a few times.
Yes.
So the first time
Totally.
I streamed it when it came out in 2015, and the first time I played through, I had no idea what I was in for, and I ended up doing a genocide run, and then of course went back and did Pacifist after that. Which, if you've played the game, you know what that means, and if you haven't played the game, you have no idea what I'm talking about, and that's totally fine.
And that's okay.
But we're only going to play just a tiny little bit of Deltarune because we don't want to spoil anything for you. It is, Toby Fox does say on the site that it's intended for people who have finished Undertale, so you should know that already. Deltarune is sort of a spin-off, though officially it's not a sequel or a prequel. There's a lot of similarities between the two games and some of the same characters. are seeming to appear from the little bit we've seen so far, but it's kind of best thought of as a demo for a larger game that Toby Fox wants to make, but hasn't yet because it's good. We would need a way larger team to actually pull off. So we've got a copy downloaded on this PC here, and I'm going to go ahead and just start our controller.
For once, I am actually ahead of you. So
I know,
would
'cause
like
you played this. No,
to
you
take the
play
controller.
it.
So this is how deep like the mythology goes. I can't even find who to credit this with, but right now my favorite fan theory or wiki theory on Undertale to Deltarune is Deltarune is an anagram of Undertale.
Oh, it is. That's true.
Right? So you've moved the characters around to make a different word. So this is an alternate universe where we're moving the characters of Undertale around. We're just sort of reorganizing the relationships between these different characters.
Okay.
It's that level of like fan theory, meta theory. It's just
So this is our main
wonderful.
character, Chris.
Yes.
We're about 10 minutes into the game right now, and like I said, we're not going to play extensively because of spoilers. But let's just see, do we have...
excuse me.
Let me see what our buttons do up here. There we go. How do I access my items? Use, toss, or key.
I'm actually kind of glad that
Can I call somebody? You try to call on the cell phone. Nope.
And nothing. So I'm actually kind of glad you're taking the wheel on this because I played on a mouse and
But it doesn't
keyboard
seem to be
and
working.
but we can just kind of explore
Okay,
some other
well
parts of the map.
let's see what happens to Chris.
So I need to express again, in my apologies to Undertale, there is a very specific retro
that?
vibe that's happening here, but
It's watching me. Are they eyeballs?
yup. Oh, it's so cool.
Have you played past this part in your playthrough?
I'm a little ahead of this. I purposely didn't go too deep.
Okay, let me just see what else we have. So, use, toss, or key items. We don't really have anything else.
And then you definitely want to be looking around because
We've
again,
got a wood blade, attack 10, defense 2, magic 0.
that everything in the Undertale universe is a very interesting spin or is satirizing.
Level 1, body contains a
traditional-
human soul. Okay, so we have a soul, which
Yes.
is an important thing. Okay. Okay.
But all of the little details that even go into when you examine and you get those little text pop-ups explaining like what you've got or what you see, all that stuff is just so wonderfully fleshed out.
What is that? What are you?
It's icky.
Okay, let's go down. Ooh, something shiny. Can I interact with it at all?
You should be able to examine and look. I don't know how to do that on an Xbox controller though. I apologize.
Okay,
There
here.
we go. There's something glowing inside.
Excuse me. There's something glowing inside. Take it.
Yes.
Yes. You got the glow shard. Okay, well, let's go ahead and look at our... Use the glow shard. Toss the glow shard. I mean, should we use it? I
Let's
don't know
try.
what it does. A shimmering shard. Its use is unknown. Oh, I guess we can't use it because we don't
until
know what it does.
Okay.
All right. Those big Jabba the Hutt looking things look like they're sleeping. This looks like 2 bleeding eyes or crying eyes and a mouth. It's too dark to see anything.
Look out.
No! I know, you even told me. Oh, man.
I love it. So okay, I mean this got me back in where I'm not the
Bathe
biggest.
your body in the light. A power shines within you, breaking through the darkness. The pain you had melted away. HP fully restored.
Save it.
Save it. Eye puzzle. Okay, what's this say? In this land, only eyes blinded by darkness can see the way.
And you got your first puzzle.
Does that mean we need to be blind? Oh, there we go.
Yep.
So we need to blind everything. Okay, so let's...
I'm not gonna say anything. I just.
Okay. That one, that one, that one. So it changes... Does it only change the dark ones? Is that... Yeah, it only changes the dark ones, huh?
But then it shows you which ones that it's changing.
Mm-hmm. That's what I mean. Out of the ones, it's only showing those.
There you
so
go.
there we go.
Nice
And we
easy
go
little
across
puzzle to
this
get you
little bridge,
started.
just to warm you up, you
Just a
know,
little
wet your
hors d'oeuvre.
whistle, if you will. And amuse bouche. It's too dark to see anything. It's too dark to see anything. Those crying eyes are so sad. Let's slide down this little waterfall. Can I interact with these now?
Uh-oh.
Did I accidentally hurt it? I might have. What was that?
What was that?
What was it? What was it? Okay. Ah! Hey, back off. Come any closer and I'll... Chris? Whew. Hey, don't scare me like that, dumbass, unless you want to get clocked in the face. This is, I think, a bully that we met earlier in the game.
in the school. So
Susie, right? Or
Yes.
Susan? Anyway, enough screwing around. We gotta
pretty
find a way
hardcore.
out of here. She's
got-
also our group project partner.
she's like, I got epic hair.
Yeah. Where is here anyway? Great question. It doesn't matter. You got us into this mess. You get us out.
It's not entirely true because if she had just not
Lead the
eaten
way,
all the
Chris.
chalk, then it would have been fine.
It's true.
This is mostly on her.
My God, never mind. You walk way too slow. All right. I'm moving
and
as fast
it's
as I
funny,
can.
like the game will chide you. I was walking around and they're like, you can push this button to run, right? And I yeah, and I just kept walking and then it came up with another text topic. Okay, I guess if you just want to go slow, that's fine.
Okay, someone up there waving at us. Any idea what they want?
Uh-oh.
Whoa! Run!
Run!
Oh no! This is like all the boss battles from
Yep.
Undertale. Ah, just bullet hell dodging. Go, go, go.
And
nope,
For
nope.
anyone
nope.
who's not familiar, there is this great aspect of Undertale and now Deltarune. Ah,
I'm just going.
you did it! But again, it's like it really does reward the easier path being more difficult. Because like, you know, in a lot of games, it's a binary choice. You want to be the good guy or be the bad guy.
Sure.
And in Undertale and now in Deltarune, like, you actually have to keep saying, I want to do the good thing
Oh,
and I want it to be
no!
more difficult.
No! This is so not my style of game. P.S.
No, you made it though. You did it. You persevered.
There were a
proud
lot
of
of the
you.
boss battles in Undertale that took me hours.
Oh, they're hard.
Because they were not easy, and it was a lot of that. Oh, you're not dead. Sweet. Got any idea what the heck this place is? The underground, I would assume.
Mhm.
Wonder if there's anyone in that building up there.
It's a mystery. Not a very good mystery.
Let's go see. In front of you,
Oh, yeah.
a castle looms beneath the empty town. A black geyser emerges from it, piercing endlessly into the sky. The power of this place shines within you. All right.
You got
Castletown. We made it to Castletown. Ooh, we're going in the castle, folks.
And I think once we get up there, I mean, we got a little taste of the action. Once we start getting into Castletown, I think we're starting to delve
Are we
into-
spoiler territories?
Starting to. I mean, it's exposition, so I think we could probably
We'll maybe call it here.
call it here.
Okay, great. So,
But you actually played through a genocide run on Undertale.
I did.
I tried to do the let's be super cool and not kill everything run.
so did
It
you
is
do
so much
like a
harder.
mixed run? Some people you let off and some people you murdered?
I tried to do everyone.
Okay.
And I didn't succeed. Because there are so many where, like, in the middle of combat, you have the choice to, like,
Let
give your
people
opponent
go.
mercy.
Yeah, yeah.
And there are some opponents that force a very prolonged interaction in that boss battle to land on mercy. Like, the game makes you
Yeah.
work to be the good guy, just like it should be in a lot of these games. It should be really easy to do the bad thing, and then if you stand up for what's right, it takes more effort. The game actually makes you expend that effort. And so it's very interesting to see like what an alternate universe take on Undertale could be, getting my hands on Deltarune.
Yeah, so you guys just saw a little bit of Deltarune.
Yeah.
If you have not played Undertale, you should definitely play
Play
that
that
game
first.
first.
Yeah.
But if you want to give Deltarune a try, again, it's a free download for PC and Mac, and you can find it at deltarune.com.
And why wouldn't you? It's
Yeah.
free. So we're almost at the end of the show.
Okay.
Wrapping this up. Before we go, let's check out a few of the final deals on newegg.com/newegg now.
Yeah, so we have some great RAM discounted for you right now. 16 gigabytes of the XPG Gamix D10 16 gigabyte for $20 off. And we've talked a lot about storage, including those fantastic Seagate deals that we discussed earlier.
Yep.
But we have even more for you. You can pick up the
wait, there's
156
more.
gigabyte S700 256 gigabyte SATA SSD from HP for less than $45, or a Samsung 256 gigabyte bar plus USB 3.1 flash drive for about $50. Great transfer speeds on that durable little drive.
Very well done. And lastly, there's a couple of audio deals. I love it when they kick me, the audio tech. I love that. So there's the Onkyo TX SR383. It's a 7.2 channel receiver with 7 discrete analog amps powering a high output transformer for less than $175. And if you're looking for some wireless speakers to go with your Samsung Sound Plus soundbar, we've got those for less than $40 right now.
All right, well, that's going to do it for us this week. Thank you to everyone out there so much for watching, that watch us live. You guys are awesome. And for everyone watching this after the fact, hello from the past, and thank you for watching. And remember that you can still take advantage of all the deals that we mentioned if you're watching this during the day that it went live on Newegg.com/Newegg Now for the rest of today while supplies last.
Yeah, and always a major thank you to the Newegg Ninjas here.
Especially for
a lot of work.
Set.
This obviously, like, and I'm gonna be really stoked when we can get another interview in the hot seat over there.
Yeah, now that we have a
comfier layout, I like it. I did this. This is a great look. So thank you so much for week after week making us look good, because this is a lot of fun to do. So come on back. You should join us next week when we're gonna take a look at some of the best tech toys of 2018. Now, this has been Newegg Now, and now you know.
Bye, guys.
Bam.